Compliments of the season, folks, and I hope you all had a great festive season. And let me just officially say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So without taking much of your time, guys, there's a couple of pairs that some members in the group have suggested I should take a look at. And just a quick note, the mentorship video, like the weekly analysis video, which I normally publish on Mondays, will only come out on the 17th. I'm gonna start publishing the weekly video on the 17th. Main reason being that I'm still digesting what happened in the markets from mid-December up until now. So that's probably for a month until mid-January. So this is for me to get a clear directional bias of where the markets are going. What directional bias do we have on dollar? You see, those kind of things. So I need to get that right for the next quarter or 2 quarters ahead. Now, for us to get that kind of information correct, for us to get our directional bias correct, we need to have a few data coming out, especially from the United States. That means looking at your calendar and listening to guys like Powell and his gang testifying in the Senate. So that's how you're going to get a clear directional bias. We are also going to get you're also going to look at things like the inflation news. That is very crucial for us to define our dollar bias. Inflation news. Reason being that the higher the inflation goes, the Federal Reserve will have no option but to tighten. And how do they tighten? They're going to increase the interest rates. So coming back to the pairs that the guy suggested, first things first, we're going to look at the calendar, right? This by default, you have to do this. You have to look at the calendar and know what's coming up in the week ahead in terms of fundamental release. Because if you don't, that's when you're going to enter into a position and then suddenly maybe the market goes against you. And then you'll be like, oh, what happened there? You won't know. Or maybe it's going to go in your direction. That's where most of us lose it, because we are going to look at ourselves as if we knew what we were doing. Yet you didn't know that there was a fundamental release on the calendar that just aided your entry. So knowing what's happening, what's coming up on the calendar is crucial. So now when we look at the calendar, okay, the pairs that I'm going to look at is NZDUSD EURGBP and EURUSD. I'm going to look at those 3 pairs. So it's going to be not too much of a long analysis, but the basics of giving you guys the directional bias on what I expect those pairs to do in the coming week. So when you look at the calendar, so that's next week, this week, sorry, today is a Sunday already. So Monday the 10th, we don't have much in terms of strong fundamentals, right? We don't have much. We only have the euro unemployment rate coming at noon tomorrow. That's something to look out for if you are trading euro. But remember, Monday is a day that we use to gauge where the market is likely to go during the week. Monday's opening price, remember, is crucial. And then we've got Tuesday. Tuesday we have very important release. It's not a release as such. It's a live data coming through from the United States. That's Federal Chairman Powell. He's going to be testifying in the Senate. And then we also have ECB president. He's gonna speak first, like just after noon on Tuesday. And then we have Powell at 5 p.m. And coincidentally, guys, it's not what can I say? It's not a coincidence that we get ECB president speaking at 12:20. Then you get Powell testifying at 1700 hours. There's a structure to this fundamental release. There's only a difference of like what? 4 hours, 5 hours, which is one H4 candle. Now, when these two people speak, firstly, when Lagarde speaks, the euro is definitely going to react. Then we have Chairman Powell's testifying. So this is basically where he's going to testify about his renomination, if I'm not mistaken. And the US dollar is definitely going to increase. So with Powell testifying on Tuesday, right? He's going to testify before the banking committee in the Senate just to confirm his nomination for another 4-year term. That's positive for the dollar, right? Because there's continuity in terms of that position, because it's a very critical position for the Federal Reserve. And then you get the rest of the Federal Reserve guys. They'll be testifying during the week, quite a lot of them. And it is very crucial that we understand their comments closely. We have to know what they're saying during the time they're testifying. We have to understand what does it mean in terms of the market. So the comments will be closely watched, right? Due to the fact that last week's minutes from the Federal Reserve, the ones we got on Wednesday, they indicated a very tight job market. Now, a very tight job market and an elevated inflation will require these guys to almost increase the rates probably sooner than what most people expect, right? That's basically tightening. Now, remember, I'm talking about one fundamental release here that's going to happen on Tuesday, that Powell testimony. If the job market is very tight and inflation keeps going up as it is doing, right, it's going to force most of the Federal Reserve guys to lean towards an early rate increase, probably maybe by end of February or during the March FOMC meeting, right? Now, what does this mean in terms of dollar? Sorry, I just had to elaborate, guys, so that you understand what Powell's testimony is going to shape the market probably for the next 2 months or 3 months. If they are going to tighten sooner than expected, that means they're going to increase the what? The interest rates, Federal Reserve. The reason why I'm focusing on the Federal Reserve, for the new guys, dollar is, we might deny it or disagree with it, but dollar is king, and dollar helps us to define the bias of most of the majors that we trade. That's why I focus more on understanding the dollar. So now, if there's a rate increase on the cards before end of March, what does that do to the dollar? A rate increase, we all know that it increases the value of a country's currency, right? Higher interest rates tend to attract foreign investment. Now, this increases the demand for and the value of the home currency, right? Now, there's only one factor, right? The relationship that exists between higher rates and inflation. Now, this is the conundrum that the Federal Reserve have got. But as it is earlier tightening is on the cards. Take note of that. Earlier, tightening is on the cards. So that's regarding Tuesday's fundamental release. Then we come to Wednesday. That's when we get the inflation news, the core CPIs. The one you have to take note of here, since we are starting the year, is the year on year, right? The year on year release is crucial in understanding where inflation is. That's the first inflation news we are getting this year. Then later on we get crude oil inventories, right? We also have the 10-year note auction. Remember, Federal Reserve right now, they are in a tapering program. Then on Thursday we get initial jobless claims. This is basically going to follow through with what we saw during NFP. Then we get the PPIs, that's for December, month on month. Then Friday we get GDP for the pound. And then we also have core retail sales for the dollar. And then we've got ECB president speaking at 3:30, and that should conclude the week. So there's two crucial releases that are going to happen next week. That's Powell's testimony and the CPI news. These are going to shape our trading week for the following maybe 2 weeks or so. Now, once we get that out of the way, we now know what to expect. We now know when to look at the calendar and make a decision on how we are going to trade. Now, if the CPI news, the CPI release month on month comes up positive, we are definitely going to see a bullish dollar. But if the CPI release is less than what's expected, then dollar will continue dropping to the downside. Now, there's also the COT report. Yes, I know most of the guys didn't update their report probably for the whole of December. They probably missed like a couple of release. That's like 4 or 5 release if I'm not mistaken. When we look at the COT report, the commercials, they increased their long position holdings the past 2 weeks, but this week their longs decreased, but their shorts also increased big time. So looking at that release, I would still expect dollar to push to the upside, but that's based on positive inflation news and positive Powell testimony. During Powell's testimony, he's basically going to testify and supporting his re-election. That means he'll probably be saying positive news regarding him being the chairman for the Federal Reserve, and that's gonna push the dollar to the upside. Now, when we come to the charts, right, when we look at the monthly chart for dollar index, I'm just gonna go quick on this so that I don't take much of your time. We can already see how January pushed to the upside, but there's been a correction to the downside. You can see January opening, then it pushed to the upside. Second week of January, market has dropped. Now, that's not a coincidence, right? It's not a coincidence at all. You can see this level here. That's a strong level of resistance. So you are bound to get the dollar facing strong resistance in that level, especially if we do get negative news like what we saw on Friday with the NFP report. Now, you can see where last week price retraced from. It retraced from this bearish order block right here. You see, that's where price found resistance and dropped. And if you go to lower time frames, right, if you go to lower time frames, say let's go to H1, right? If you go to lower time frame, you can see that price, let's go to H4. Let me just go to H4 quickly. I want to mark the 50% mean threshold. You can see the 50% mean threshold coming in at 96.335, right? of the order block, folks. The mean threshold of the order block. You can see how price was finding resistance there during last week. Price came, then dropped. Price came and then dropped. And then ultimately, due to NFP, price massively dropped to the downside because NFP was negative, right? So understanding that concept, because yes, long term, I think dollar is gonna push. We're gonna push all the way to let me go to the weekly chart. Long term, we need dollar to clear this level here. This is the target for me, long term dollar index. That's if we are getting positive news regarding the dollar. If we're getting negative news, remember folks, you need to know how to react in the market. If we're getting negative news, then dollar is going to struggle to break above this zone that I've highlighted. But once we break above, then 100 is the target on dollar index. As it is, only go long on dollar based on positive fundamentals, right? Because as it is, dollar can push to the downside. As it is, we got fair value gap here. We do have a fair value gap located at roughly around 95.35. That's a fair value gap that could also provide support. But remember, if you get a negative release from the United States, the fair value gap can provide you with a what? With a target. You see, that would be your target for shorts on dollar. Now, if you're shorting dollar, you're going long on EURUSD, you're going long on NZDUSD, right? It means euro is going to gain. If euro is gaining, how then are you going to react on EURGBP? Now, that's a homework for you. Remember, you need to put in the work, guys, because there's going to come a time when you have to do such kind of analysis by yourself so that you know how to trade the markets, how to react to a fundamental release. So as it is going into next week, right? Going into next week regarding the dollar, right? With Powell testifying on Tuesday, I would lean towards a strong dollar from Tuesday. All right, means let me come to my daily chart. Now, there's one candle that's going to be formed here. That's a Monday's price action candle. Now, where is dollar currently? Dollar is trading right inside this bullish order block. Right now, this is next week's analysis. What I'll be doing if we do get positive news from Powell testifying, positive news from the inflation news, those CPI release. Now, if we are to get a strong dollar next week, 95.63 is your ideal long entry, right? But if there's negative news, then expect dollar to fall all the way to probably 95.34 and ultimately targeting this bullish order block. You can see we've got a fair value gap here, right around 95.34. we've got a fair value gap, but we also have 95.63 that should provide support if we do get positive fundamental from the inflation news and from Powell's testimony. But if it's to go the other way, then expect dollar to trade to the downside. So basically what I'm saying is the bias for dollar for the upcoming week will be based on what Powell says during his testimony, the inflation news that we're going to get on Wednesday. They are going to determine how we react to the market, how we trade the market in the coming week. Remember, we trade what's there. We look at current price action. According to the fundamental that comes out, then we trade. Now remember, when a fundamental comes out, like what happened on Friday, NFP, dollar did push to the upside for like, I think, 20 or so 30 minutes, one of the guys in the group was already sending me a message to say, guys, this is not working. Like after 30 minutes of a fundamental release, someone was already doubting what was happening in the market. Now, what I can say in regards to that is that was manipulation. That was enticing the retail market to go long on dollar, right? If you go to a lower time frame, let me go to a 15-minute H1, I think, right? Let's say 30 minutes. Let's go 30 minutes on Friday so that I can explain to you what really was happening. So this is Friday, 3 o'clock, Friday, 3:30, this candle here, right? This is the candle for 3:30 for NFP, when NFP got released. So NFP comes out 3:30, dollar pushes to the downside, right? Pushes to the downside for how many pips? For like almost 14 pips. 14 pips drop on dollar index. That's huge on EURUSD. You're looking at almost 20-30 pip to the upside. Now, I did send a message in the group to say, guys, expect the dollar to get weak for the next hour or so, right? Now, the first 30 minutes after NFP release, dollar dropped. It was weak. Then it corrected to the upside. Now, look at this candle in particular, right? When you look at that candle, that 30-minute candle from 3:30 to 4 o'clock, many people would have related this to a stop hunt to the downside, and then market starts pushing to the upside. When this candle closed, many people were going long on dollar index, right? Yes, there was a bit of positive on the side of some other data that came out together with NFP, but ultimately it's the NFP number that matters, right? Less people were employed during the month of December. You see, that's there for everyone to see. Now, if you send me a message 30 minutes after NFP has been released and you say, no, it's not working out, you see, because of 14 pips, right? And if you cannot hold a 14 pip loss for 30 minutes, you are in the wrong group. You want to scalp 1 minute. It means you were focusing on a 1 minute candle. You were focusing on a 5 minute candle, right? You are in the wrong group, folks. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna beat about the bush or anything. I'm not the right person to help you if you are not going to be mentally strong to understand what I'm trying to give out to you guys. So this guy, he sent me a message. He's in the group. 30 minutes after NFP release, when I said expect a weaker dollar for the next hour or so, 30 minutes into the release, that happens, meaning dollar was a bit strong, right? But then look what happened the following 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. That's 1 hour, right? No, this is 30 minutes, so that's the first 2 candles of NFP release. Dollar is weak, went up, trades lower and closed lower. Second hour is weak. Now this is what I expect you guys to look at price in such a way, right? Whoever shorted dollar during NFP release means you shorted it here, right? Then it dropped. It did drop 14 pips. So this guy was basically saying 14 pip reversal, things are not working. You are a scalper and I won't help you. Like, honestly, I won't, because I don't scalp myself. I hold my positions for at least 4 hours, 8 hours using intraday trading. And then later on, then the market drops eventually 41 pip. 41 pip drop on dollar index. Sorry guys, I just had to put this out so that you understand. So this is EURUSD. EURUSD 3:30. When you're shorting dollar index, it means you're going long on EURUSD, you're going long on pound USD, you're shorting USD JPY, you're going long Aussie dollar, NZD. You see, you're also shorting USD CHF and USD CAD. Now I'm just going to give one example here, right? It means you'd have also went long on EURUSD, right? EURUSD 2 hour long position, that's 48 pips. Now that's what I'm trying to teach you folks. 48 pips, you do the maths. 0.5 lot size or even a standard lot size position, you do the maths. The rest you must understand. So looking ahead in the week, I'm expecting dollar to find support around 95.63 and also around 95.34, but this is based on a positive fundamental release. But if we do get negative fundamental release, then expect price to break to the downside on these levels that I've marked. That is if we are still trading below 95.72 on Tuesday. But if Monday we get a correction to the upside and we do get positive news from Powell and the inflation news, then expect dollar to continue going to the upside and break above 96.33. So where we are in terms of price action will determine how we trade the dollar. Now coming to the euro, the opposite applies. We are going to be looking for short positions. That's based on dollar positive news, right? Positive news for the dollar, we've got fair value here on euro, right? Now this fair value is coming in right at $14, right? $14, if we do get into that price range on Monday, which is tomorrow, if we do get into that range and then we get Powell testifying and we get positive for the dollar, that's negative for euro USD. We should trade to the downside. But if we do get negative fundamental release from the inflation and Powell testifying, then expect euro to break above $14, which is highly unlikely that we break above $14. But if we do get negative news, yes, we should break above. But if we do get positive for the dollar, then anticipate euro to trade back to $12.80, $12.75. I hope you understanding what I'm trying to say. Like this level here should provide resistance. There's no way price is just gonna break above $13.85. No ways. Price won't just break above. Now coming to NZDUSD, right? NZDUSD, if I'm anticipating bullish dollar, then expect NZDUSD to continue going to the downside. It's gonna continue falling, right? Now we've got this level here, right? Now this level here, mean threshold, we're looking at about 0.6671. I don't usually trade NZDUSD, but for the sake that one guy said I must have a look at it, NZDUSD, we've got liquidity, sell side liquidity located at 0.6700. We've got sell side liquidity, which should be a target. If we do get a strong dollar, that should be a target for a weaker New Zealand dollar, right? 0.6700, that's the low of last month. We've got sell side liquidity at that level, right? And a strong dollar, then we should see NZDUSD trade to the downside, targeting 0.6717. You can see we've got a weekly bullish order block there, and we've got a fair value. This is a fair value that I marked on a monthly chart, but right now price is trading inside this weekly fair value. Yes, there's gonna be a bit of support around that level, and if we do get negative fundamentals for the dollar, then expect a very strong support around let me just see. Remember, we need Monday's price action here. Monday's price action is crucial. That's why I always release my weekly forecast on Monday, because I would have seen how Monday's data looks like. Now, look what happened on Friday. We got negative news for the dollar. That's in turn providing strong NZD. Look where it found support, right at the fair value gap. Weekly fair value gap, mean threshold, NZD found support. Now, if we do get, I don't know how many pips is that. Let me go to 30 minutes. 30 minutes, where is 3:30 on Friday? 30 minutes, 3:30 on Friday. This is 3:30 on Friday, right? A weaker dollar for the next hour or so, and then you get NZDUSD rallying for like almost 36 pips, which is a lot. You see, if you look at Aussie dollar, USD JPY, pound USD, Euro USD, you'd have got almost more than 200 pips just from one fundamental release. So for NZD, guys, NZD is also going to be based on how Powell and the inflation news comes out. If we do get those fundamentals positive, then expect NZDUSD to trade to the downside. Now, depending on Monday's price action, we are definitely going to get a daily candle. A daily candle probably on Monday. Maybe it will reach out for this bearish order block. And during those fundamental releases, if they are positive for the dollar, then it's going to find resistance and drop to the downside. I hope you understand that part. Now, looking at EURGBP, right? EURGBP, you need to understand that EURGBP in most cases already moves before Euro USD or Pound USD does, right? I think I've explained this before. If we do get a strong euro, right? If we do get a strong euro, it reacts first on Euro GBP before it does on Euro USD or Pound USD. Now, if I go back to the calendar, on Tuesday, what do we have that's gonna move the euro? We've got ECB president, right? Lagarde is speaking at 12:20. Now, if she's speaking on 12:20 on Monday, right? When you look at our PD areas where we anticipate price to react. Now, this is a monthly chart on Euro GBP. We've got our fair value gap there, our main threshold coming in at 0.818, right? Now, what do we have below these lows here? Just gonna mark it. We've got this low, this low, this low, and this low. What do we have lying there? We've got sell side liquidity, right? We've got sell side liquidity below 0.8276, right? We've got sell side liquidity. The reason why I'm saying what do we have down there, it's because we have already cleared this level here. 0.8367 has been cleared, right? These are the lows of 1, 2, 3. That's of December, November, and October. We've cleared below. We've cleared this bullish order block, right? Meaning price is looking to go to the downside, right? Price is looking to go to the downside. Now, when you look at this technical chart, and then we've got Lagarde speaking on Tuesday. What is it that could Lagarde talk about that could give strength to euro? Maybe euro can also start tapering. You never know. Maybe they're gonna start talking of also increasing their euro rate. You never know. You see, those are the things that could provide a stronger euro. But now we only react to what the market has already been told, right? We react to that. Now, when we react, we're not reacting for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes or for 15 minutes. We are not scalping. We react for a longer time. Now, with that said, I'm looking for a weaker euro, right? I'm looking for euro to trade to the downside, heading towards 0.8276 in the coming week. Now, this is the weekly chart, you can see why I'm saying we have already cleared this monthly bullish order block. This is our monthly bullish order block, the gray shaded area, right? We've already cleared that level, and now price is looking to go to the downside, right? What's the distance between here and there? We've got 83 pips. There's a potential of 83 pips. I'm not saying euro is going to get weaker 83 pips. Euro GBP is going to be weak 83 pips in the coming week, though it's a possibility on a strong dollar, right? So my target for Euro GBP in the coming week is 0.8276. That's only on the perspective that we get a strong dollar. If we do get a weaker dollar, then expect price to rally to the upside on Euro GBP. Now, on the daily chart, you can see how price has been finding resistance at 0.83677. What is 0.83677? You go back to the monthly chart for you to see that this level here, right? Last month's low, right? Last month's low is coming in at 0.83677. We cleared last month's low liquidity. In turn, it provides resistance when market comes back to that level. It's that simple, guys. It is that simple. It provides resistance. Boom, 32 pips. Again, another 30 pips. So the possibility of market finding resistance here at 0.8367, they're very high, but only on a strong dollar. If we do get a weaker dollar now, then expect price to find support somewhere along this bullish order block, because it would have already dropped, and then negative news for the dollar comes out, then it goes to the upside. But if we do break above 0.8367, then your next area to focus on is this bearish order block. We've got a bearish order block and a fair value gap, right? We've got a fair value gap here between 8386 and 8370. Price is likely to trade inside that range. Maybe on a Monday, we get our Monday candle trading inside this range. Then positive news for the dollar come Tuesday or Wednesday, then Euro GBP should drop. But if it's negative news for the dollar, then expect euro to trade to the downside on positive news for the dollar. So I hope this has shed some light, though it's not my type of analysis that I normally want to do, because you know me, I always want to mark out every price action that I can get on the chart, every PD array that is going to provide me with emphasis to make a decision once I get data coming out from the US or the Euro zone. But for now, this is for you to get a clear understanding of what to expect when we do get the news release from Powell and the inflation news. So yeah, that's pretty much about it, guys. And if you have any questions, just send me a message into the group, the mentorship group, so that we can get to grips with your questions. So yeah, the weekly mentorship is only gonna come up starting Monday, the 17th of January. That's when I'm gonna start with the deep understanding of our analysis, with a proper analysis of dollar index and where it's likely heading. And for that, I need a couple of weeks releases from the US market, looking at the bond market, looking at how the Fed is going to tackle inflation, and a couple of data also from the US economy. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for the first video of the year, and I do hope you guys have got a bit of emphasis now, a bit of understanding of what to expect on those 4 assets that I've looked at. So that's dollar, EURUSD, NZDUSD, and EURGBP. So with that, guys, I urge you to like and share this video with your friends. And if you're not in the mentorship group and you want to join the mentorship, send me a message and we can take it from there. Because yeah, of course, this one I'm going to make it public, but once the weekly mentorship comes out, it will only be public after 4 or 5 days, and that means you'd have missed most probably the whole moves in the markets. So yeah, subscribe to the channel, guys, so that we grow the community. It's always good to have like-minded people in the same group so that we all get to learn from each other. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for today, folks, and I wish you guys good luck and happy trading. Thank you.